welcome to Toyota Arena in Ontario, California for a presentation of the Major Arena Soccer League live on CBS Sports Golazo Network. My name's Christian Filliman. That's Jonathan Reimer. Look, before we get into things, we would be remiss if we didn't bring up the tragic fires that were occurring 40 miles to the west of us in Los Angeles. Here in Ontario, California, we're not that far from all the tragedy that is occurring. Jonathan and I both live in Los Angeles. We may have lost power for a couple of days, but that pales in comparison to what some others have lost. And we just wanted to start this broadcast out by saying, look, we're here with you, we feel you, and our heart goes out to each and every one of you.
To be an Angelino this week has been difficult. The tragedy, the grief, the sheer shock and awe of everything that we have experienced has been beyond the pale. But I know you, Philly, like myself, could certainly do for a bit of reprieve today. And if we would be so gracious as to offer a little bit of distraction for those of you here in Los Angeles and those of you around the globe with your eyes on the tragedy in Los Angeles.
And look, a big shout out to the first responders that are out there on the front line, the firefighters, the police department, everybody out there helping. Our heart goes out to each and every one of you. And again, if you're tuning into this broadcast for a reprieve, thank you. We take that with the utmost responsibility. And with that, the Empire Strykers are hosting the St. Louis Ambush. Two teams that are coming off of a couple of game losing streaks, if you will. Both teams are competing, though, for that coveted playoff spot. This should be an intriguing game. There are a lot of storylines for tonight.
We have two teams sitting right next to each other in the standings, desperately battling for that last seat in the Ron Newman Cup Championship playoffs. 3 points tonight spread betwixt the two will be massive for either team's candidacy for a postseason run.
It's also the return of the most prolific scorer in the history of the Major Arena Soccer League, Frank Tayu, his first game back in Toyota Arena. Look, there's plenty to talk about today, but we're going to get into that as the broadcast continues. Folks, it's the Strykers hosting the St. Louis Ambush, and it is live on CBS Sports Golazo Network. Back in a moment for the start of today's game.
The wait is over. The 2025 MASL season is here. Bigger and better than ever. Get ready for high-speed action, jaw-dropping goals, and fierce competition as your favorite teams battle it out on the field. With intense rivalries, unforgettable moments, and new stars rising, the MASL delivers excitement every week. Get your tickets now and be part of the excitement. Because this season, the action is non-stop.
Hello, folks, and welcome to Toyota Arena. You are watching CBS Sports Golazo's presentation of the Major Arena Soccer League. My name is Jonathan Reimer. You can call me Doc. Joining me, as always, Christian Philly Filliman, the voice of Empire himself. And, of course, on the sidelines, the third member of our broadcast team, Amanda the Panda Filliman. And she's going to give us a brief update on our efforts to help those in need in wake of the Los Angeles fires. Take it away, Panda.
Hey guys, it cannot be overstated enough just how our hearts are all so heavy down here in SoCal for everybody that's been affected by these wildfires. if you're feeling heavy sitting on your couch right now and you want to try to help out all of these victims, then head on over to redcross.org. And you can also text Red Cross to 90999 to make a $10 donation. Any amount helps. So many people have been affected, and not just for the houses and their cars and their property, but jobs have been affected, as well as wildlife and pets and so many things. So we ask you, if you have a chance and you want to reach out and help all of those that have been victimized by these wildfires, do that by heading to redcross.org. Now let's have some fun tonight, guys. Are you ready up in the booth?
Ready, Panda. Thank you so much. And there are no gross exaggerations. Everything that you've seen in the news and in the media is very true. Los Angeles is hurting right now, but we are here in this building 40 miles to the east. LA Strong, set to give you all a reprieve. And again, thank you so much for joining us on this presentation of the Major Arena Soccer League on CBS Sports Golazo Network. I'm going to start things off by asking you, Doctor, and that's your nickname, Jonathan Reimer, because you have a PhD in personality. What is the most dangerous kind of plant in existence?
Ooh, this is a good question. I don't know, sir.
It would be an ambush, and that's something that the Strykers are going to have to avoid, because this is a St. Louis team that is very much improved from last season. Sure, they went 4-14-6, and currently they're sitting at 2-6-0. But if you look at that lineup, looking on your screen right now, the most prolific scorer in the history of the Major Arena Soccer League, Frank Tayu, his brother Uzi Tayu, a lockdown defender. St. Louis has the players. St. Louis has the talent. Both teams coming into today off of losing streaks, but this is going to be a question as to who is the better team, and it might come down to who is going to make the playoffs, because this could be a potential 8th seed matchup right here.
A massive three-point swing between either of these teams, both sitting right at the cusp of the Ron Newman Cup playoffs line. St. Louis Ambush currently sitting on 5 points on the season. Pushing them up to 8 would pull them within 1 point of Empire. Empire currently sitting at 9 points. 3 points would put them a full 8 points clear of St. Louis, and a massive standing. But of course, the man himself, the king, Frank Tayu, stands in the way. He is having an impressive season with 11 goals, 6 assists, 17 points, averaging 2.1 points per game. And he's battling against Marco Fabián's 13 goals already this season. Should be a good one, Philly.
And we are underway. And speaking of Marco Fabián, that ball is going to come out of play off of Marco Fabián.
Speaking of balls, we'd like to thank you, Miter, the official game ball supplier of the Major Arena Soccer League. Established in 1817, Miter is one of the leading soccer brands worldwide and makes some of the best soccer balls in the world. Learn more at miter.com.
This is going to be a very intriguing matchup. The Empire Strykers only won 3 games last season. 2 of those shot by Mo Ndiaye wide to the left. Both games that the Strykers won were against the St. Louis Ambush and one against the Dallas Sidekicks, a team that they lost to over the weekend, a team that the St. Louis Ambush have beaten. So there's so many interesting parallels and interesting storylines. We talk about Frank Tayu. He spent 4 seasons here in Ontario, having played 76 games, scored 131 goals, had himself 54 assists, several points if you want to do the math. But in his absence, the Strykers have found a new star, in that of Marco Fabián, who was last season's co-Golden Boot winner along with Kansas City's Zach Regan. And Marco Fabián already in the lead as the Golden Boot leader for the Empire Strykers with 13 goals coming into tonight's matchup.
For those of you watching an Empire game for the first time, you're going to notice the keeper has been pulled to start the game. Empty net in back of the defense for Empire. This has been new head coach Onua Obasi's MO throughout the course of the season. Does lead for some risky moments like the one we just saw right there, Philly.
When you live by the sword, you die by the sword. But with this strategy, the Strykers have maintained possession and have not allowed for that many defensive counters. Of course, limiting the mistakes is something that Empire is going to have to do, something that really was their Achilles heel just this past weekend against Dallas and Kansas City. St. Louis Ambush, on the other hand, played 2 incredibly competitive games against the defending champion Chihuahua Savage in their home arena, Corner Sport Arena, that is. The last game, 11-9. At some point, we were all sitting watching the TV screen thinking, man, St. Louis might actually have a shot at dethroning the champs.
That was a wild game to take the champs to within 2 goals in their arena, an arena they have only ever lost in 3 times in their entire history. It was a heck of a game and a heck of a performance by the St. Louis Ambush.
Absolutely, they should hold their heads up high. And again, this is a St. Louis team that historically has never beaten this franchise. Not when they were wearing the Empire Strykers colors, not when they were once wearing the Ontario Fury colors. Now, as you see here, with utilizing the goalkeeper as an attacker, well, the vast majority of the possession has been in favor of Empire. Ciro Oliveira is sitting in the midfield, daring the St. Louis ambush attackers to come forward. Pass comes into Fabián. Fabián is going to be marked by a great shutdown defender, and that of Dylan Hundell. A near turnover as Justin Stinson passes it over to Emmanuel Aguirre. Wide open pass, Aguirre with a look, saved by Paulo Nascimento, one of the best goalkeepers you will see in the indoor game. Strykers recover, Stinson finds himself open, shot wide to the right, off of the glass.
We can already see a slight tweak in the tactics of using the quote-unquote sixth attacker by Obasi, typically allowing his goalkeeper to retreat and play right at the center circle. We can see today, as the goalkeeper moves forward, that they're taking a position here on the right wing to avoid that double touch rule where the keeper cannot touch the ball twice on the defensive side. As we got a foul against the keeper here in the low boards.
Now the Strykers have a platoon of keepers that they utilize. Brian Orozco is the one who gets the start in between the pipes today, but keep an eye out on number 0 as well. Brandon Gomez, who did score a goal underneath this roof against the Tacoma Stars just a couple of weeks ago. Clayson De Lima, another one of the incredible keepers that Coach Onu Obasi has at his disposal. He will not be playing in tonight's matchup.
Former goalkeeper of the year, Clayson De Lima, picking up a groin injury that has kept him out of the roster for tonight's game.
Robert Palmer wearing the captain's armband, one of the greatest defenders this league has seen. A pass in from George De Leon, trying to connect with Abdul Mansoure. Speaking of one great defender, there's another one. We welcome the return of Uzi Tayu, the older brother of Frank Tayu. Uzi, a successful defender in the history of this league and one of the top shot blockers that the MASL has seen.
Really had a career season last year as well, too.
Playing for the Texas Outlaws. Had a couple of teammates that are now on Empire, from the likes of Andy Reyes, Emmanuel Aguirre, and of course George De Leon. Palmer over to Mansoure. Mansoure had himself a fabulous game against the Dallas Sidekicks, where he scored a brace. Palmer tried to connect with Randy Martinez. Ball is stolen by Thomas. Doncaster, England native.
If folks are wondering with the empty net, why don't players just shoot the second that turnover happens? Well, folks, they've got to cross the yellow line first before they can get a shot off. Otherwise, that's a three-line pass, and that goal is not going to count.
For the veterans out there, we're going to be explaining some of the nuances of the rules of this game because, of course, we have a lot of people tuning in to the CBS Sports Golazo Network broadcast that have never seen indoor soccer. And we love indoor soccer here. Greatest show on turf.
Welcome to the madness, folks. You're in for high-scoring, fast-action style of indoor soccer.
Ciro Oliveira in his rookie campaign this season passes over to Berto Palmer into Tony Della Torre. Strykers looking to wield some kind of shot off. Ball is loose. Just crosses and grazes through the box.
It's a good idea there to chip to the back post for the tap-in. Great defense across the line there by the ambush.
Oliveira into Palmer. Palmer, who leads the MASL historically in most blocked shots. Pass into Alan Perez. Palmer with an opportunity, back over to Perez. Perez with a shot, blocked by Uzi Tayu. Tayu showing us some of that amazing defensive prowess. Tried to find his brother, but the Strykers do recover. And look, with over 5 minutes of action that have expired here in the first quarter, it really has been the Strykers that have maintained the entirety of possession. Ambush have yet to really have a threatening opportunity.
One of the advantages of said possession, as you see there, the Strykers were able to get a quick change, get some fresh legs out there. St. Louis unable to do so as they are pinned back. The opportunity to have fresh legs versus tired could play the advantage right now for the Strykers.
And both teams had played on Friday and Saturday. I know St. Louis got into California late last night, early this morning. A near turnover by Araujo. Rafael having a nice tenure here in the Major Arena Soccer League. Strykers still holding on to possession. Ball gets poked into Paulo Nascimento. And that is headed out of play by St. Louis. Empire recovers with 8 minutes and 35 remaining here in this first quarter. Pass comes into Brian Orozco. Orozco with a shot that goes off of the back of Julio Varela. Varela had himself a great campaign against the Chihuahua Savage over the weekend, scoring 3 goals in 2 games against the defending champions.
Doubling his tally on the season. He is up to 6 goals on the season. Scoring thrice versus the Savage is no easy task.
No, he comes back to his native California. He's from Watsonville. Played his college ball at Hartnell and Cal State University, Monterey Bay. There we see Marco Fabián just past the yellow line, addressing it over to Stinson. Stinson in an ambush sandwich over to Marco. Fabián to De Leon. De Leon who spins past Eskay. It's a cheeky and a wise move. Could not get past his defender. Poked away by Aguirre. Aguirre into Alami. Munir Alami with a shot. He just misses. He's been one of the Strykers' most outstanding players. Shot by Marco into an Eskay blockade. And that ball is going to come out of play.
It's going to take a tip off of the ambush before that ball heads out of play. And folks, that's going to take us to our first media time out of the game. You are watching the Major Arena Soccer League on CBS Sports Golazo Network.
Across the nation, MASL players are giving back, utilizing their professional power to touch and inspire people in their local communities nationwide. Free soccer clinics, where kids can meet their heroes and learn new skills. After-school programs and special events. And surprise visits to the classroom. Visiting brave kids in the hospital, bringing joy and hope. Supporting special needs care, partnering with local businesses, and so much more. MASL, passion on the field, purpose off the field, committed to community.
MGR Real Estate is Southern California's largest independent family-owned real estate company. MGR is a proud sponsor of your Empire Strykers.
7:47 remaining in the first quarter. Both teams are deadlocked at 0-0. Thus far, it has been the Empire Strykers that have been goading the St. Louis Ambush to attack them. And that's part of head coach Onua Obasi in his first year at the Empire's strategy. The $1 million man, as we call him, not because he's a fan of professional wrestling, but mainly because of the fact that he did win the inaugural TST tournament. It's coveted $1 million prize. He's brought in a similar strategy utilized at that tournament here for Empire, and it's a strategy that's very much kept the Empire Strykers competitive. This season, they've already hit their entire win total thus far, a third of the way into the year that they had all over the course of 24 games last season.
Nothing like bringing in a head coach that's already got that winning pedigree despite being early in his coaching career. Onua Obasi, champion of the first ever TST tournament.
And a prolific career in his own right. You know, he played recently in M2. There's a ball that somehow Wallace scores itself. Abdul Mansoureh from London, England, scoring the first goal of the game. Strykers go up 1-0. Doctor, walk us through.
I think Abdul was attempting to pass this ball off the boards, but nonetheless, it takes a favorable bounce off the boards, finds itself into the back of the net. Nothing Paulo Nascimento can do about that one. Strykers are up 1-0.
It not only surprised one of the best keepers in this league, in Paulo Nascimento, it surprised the broadcasters as well. Brian Colmo out there, who created the Wallace score, a lexicon, which the doctor is going to define momentarily. Mansoret having one of his best seasons thus far, his 5th goal of this season, and it couldn't have come at a better time. Strykers looking for some joy considering the tough road trip that they had, and they are up 1-0. Speaking of that Wallace-Scora, Doc, talk about it.
Wallace-Scora, in this case the self-Wallace-Scora, one of the rarest forms of it, but whenever the ball is played off the wall and into the back of the net, that is a Wallace-Scora. Typically it is a pass between 2 players off the wall that leads to the assist on the shot. In this case, off the wall and into the back of the net, in my opinion, the rarest form of the Wallace-Scora. Yep. Beautiful stuff by London Abdul Mansoret.
The albatross, the unicorn of indoor soccer, whatever you want to utilize. Either way, fabulous goal by Abdul Mansoret to start the scoring early. Marco Fabián settling into the midfield. It's interesting seeing one star versus another as he was looking at Frank Tayu. Tayu, no stranger to success in this building. Don't want to say he's looking at his successor, but since Marco Fabián has made the transition from the outdoor world to indoor, Marco the Magnificent, Marco the Marvelous has settled in quite nicely to indoor soccer.
Folks, MASLsoccer.com is your home for everything Major Arena Soccer League. All the latest news, leaderboards, highlights, and more. And while you're searching around on the webs, you can head to redcross.org/CBS or text 90999 to contribute to the relief efforts here in Los Angeles.
Certainly use all of your help. At the very least, your positive thoughts and your prayers. A lot of craziness going on in Los Angeles. I myself have lived for 9 years, never seen anything like what I've seen transpire. Nice pass into Oliveira. Shot saved by Nascimento. Paulo getting his paws on that attempt. NDI spent a season here in Empire, not last season as he was with Utica City, but a year prior. Found himself in a role of being a defender. There we see the ambush trying to utilize a similar strategy employed by the Strykers as Paulo Nascimento came out of his box for a little while, but he's going to retreat back. Pass in from Varela into Araujo. Hundelt recovers. Back over to Christian Briggs. This is the most possession that we've seen the ambush have here in this first quarter. Poked away by Berto. Robert Palmer. Pass from Alan Perez trying to connect with Randy Martinez. Martinez in a sophomore season, and there's going to be a foul on the ambush.
Green Drop offers a better alternative to the outdated compression sleeves and socks, truly providing long-lasting relief at an affordable price. Green Drop's recovery products are uniquely suited to help athletes battle aching joints and muscles. Learn more at greendropcompression.com.
Restart for the Strykers. Pass comes in, shot off of the mark. Fabián with another attempt, high and into the netting. That's going to be a goalkeeper restart for St. Louis.
It's a speculative range for Marco to be trying to dial one in from that far out, but anytime you get the ball towards frame in indoor, you never know what can happen after one of those rebounds off the boards. A more traditional Wallace-Scora.
I mean, you said it, Abdul Mansoret. Can't say that he was really looking for a shot on the first goal of the game. Wallace scored it himself. There's a long ball into the capable hands of Brian Orozco. Orozco in his 3rd season in the MASL, plays for the Guatemalan national futsal team. And for those who are familiar with CONCACAF, the team out of Guatemala, Comunicaciones, Guatemalan Giant, well, Brian Orozco featured on their U17 side. A very talented young player, resides in Riverside, just west of where we are here in, east of where we are in Ontario. Fabulous keeper. Pass comes into Alami. Alami into Andy Reyes. Reyes in his 2nd stint with the Empire Strykers. Coming off of a career high last year playing with the Texas Outlaws. Currently leading the Strykers in assists. Pass comes in to Gonzalez. Bebe, as they like to call him. For those of you who follow the indoor game, the brother of Charlie Gonzalez, who plays for the San Diego Sockers. Team that you will be watching on Monday of next week on CBS Sports Golazo Network as they come into Toyota Arena to take on the Strykers for the 2nd time this season.
That's going to be a big one. Rivalry match. Definitely want to tune into that one, folks.
A rivalry for Empire, whereas, pass comes in. It is loose, recovered by Stinson. Stinson battling with Axel Chacunte. Chacunte signed as a free agent from the Texas Outlaws. He also had himself a really good weekend against the Chihuahua Savage. Chikute hailing from Cameroon. He's got a couple of teammates that also hail from Cameroon, and that of Uzi Tayu and Frank Tayu. Third season in the MASL. A big pickup for Jeff Locker's team. Jeff Locker, the head coach of the St. Louis Ambush. We are 2:46 remaining here in this first quarter. Thus far, it's been the Empire Strykers currently leading off of a self-wall to score a goal by Abdul Mansoure. Munir Alami gets dispossessed by William Eskay. Eskay has it poked away from Emmanuel Aguirre, and there's a whistle on the turf.
Foul's going to be behind the ball just in front of the ambush bench. It'll be their ball playing out from the defensive half.
Eskay, a star here in this indoor game. 5th season in St. Louis, 7th in the MASL.
Speaking of stars, shout out to Gordy Gerson and Joey Tavernisi. Commissioners picks to be added to the MASL All-Star game coming up next month.
Hey, Kid Dynamite and Joey Ravtab, big shout out to the both of you. 2 players that absolutely deserve to be in the All-Star game. If you look at their statistics in the modern MASL, it's a shock that they had to go down to commissioners picks, but congratulations to the both of them. Chested from Orozco into De Leon.
De Leon's going to get called for the handball there. He thought it was more shoulder than hand. The man in red is the only opinion that matters.
Speaking of which, we have to recognize our officials today. Senior referee Brian Miller, Kelsey Harms, Viviana Diaz, Andy Waller, your 4th official. An attempted bicycle by Frank Tayu.
Instead of the glory, he's going to come away with a foul called for a boot to the head as Empire plays out.
Talk about glory. It might have almost been gory had he made contact with Robert Palmer's head. Palmer knowing the tendencies of Frank Tayu, as they were teammates here in Ontario, California for quite some time. Approaching the 92nd mark here within this first quarter. The score still sits at 1-0. Strikers seem confident and comfortable settling in on possession, just waiting and baiting St. Louis to come out there and attack.
You can see there's not a lot of movement at the back for the Strikers. Where the movement is happening is up front, trying to move St. Louis's defense around, create those gaps in the defense by constantly scrambling around behind them. And as the ball moves back and forth across the point in the backfield, the action up top is where they're trying to move the defenders out of place. St. Louis doing a really good job in their 2-1-2 formation right now of keeping a good shape.
Zachary Druhy in the middle of that Strikers midfield. Less than 50 seconds remain. Pass comes into Orozco. Oliveira into Palmer. Settling on this style of offense. Reyes into Oliveira. Trying to find Mansoure. Pass comes into De Leon to the right. Errant pass deflected, stolen by the ambush as William Eskay recovers. Eskay evaluating his options, goes into NDI. NDI back to Eskay. Less than 20 remaining in this first quarter. Pass comes into Carvalho. Carvalho still hanging on to it. Carvalho, who didn't play last season as he was dealing with visa issues. Pass comes into Chikute. Chikute with a shot saved by Orozco. And Orozco's going to hang on to it. He's going to roll it out to Ciro Oliveira. And that's going to be the end of the first quarter, folks. It has been a quarter that has been dominated by the Empire Strykers as far as possession. And they're going to head into the first break up on the ambush by a score of 1-0. Back in a moment, you are watching CBS Sports Golazo Network.
Welcome back to Toyota Arena, where the Empire Strykers currently have a 1-goal lead on the St. Louis Ambush. You are watching the Major Arena Soccer League on CBS Sports Golazo Network. And as we will remind you throughout the course of tonight's broadcast, if you wish to help out the folks here in Los Angeles, we encourage you to head to redcross.org/CBS or text 90999 to be part of the relief efforts here in Los Angeles. Philly, as you well know, my house currently sits about 2.5 miles from the current evacuation line. Hoping I have a home to go home to.
Well, you always have a home with me, my friend, in Burbank, California, along with our sideline reporter, Amanda the Panda Philemon. Look, man, it's crazy to think that we went without power for a couple of days, and we thought that was a bad thing. People that have lost homes, that's a rough thing, but they're starting to get the fires under containment. I know we've got some winds that are going to be picking up here in the next couple of days, and just pray, keeping our fingers crossed, whatever ideology or deity that you want to pray to, hopefully that this thing could get resolved. And well, it's going to be tough to go back to life normally in Los Angeles, all things considered, but for those of you joining us again today, we thank you so much. Hopefully we offer you some type of distraction, and that distraction being that the Empire Strykers are leading the St. Louis Ambush by a score of 1-0. First goal scorer of the game, Abdul Mansoureh, in the first quarter, has the game at this result. Strykers had 5 shots on goal to the Ambush's 1. Paulo Nascimento, the busier of the 2 keepers of the St. Louis Ambush, and no surprise considering how long the Empire Strykers held on to possession.
Handball called against Justin Stinson in the offensive zone. It will be ambush ball playing out.
Just a little bit on Paulo Nascimento. He wears number 17 for St. Louis, a native of Brazil. Tore his ACL in the 21-22 season. And the fact that he's willed himself back to being one of the best keepers in this league is a testament to his spirit and his nature, and it's great to see him back. Fabulous keeper, and those out in St. Louis know better than we do how talented this young man is.
He saw the lion's share of the action there in the first quarter, seeing 5 shots from Empire, making 2 saves, by comparison to just 1 shot for the Ambush. 1 save recorded at the other end by Brian Orozco.
Stolen pass into Eskay. Speaking of talented players, Dylan Hundelt off of the board, tried to Wallace score it to himself, poked away by Tony Della Torre. Mansoureh, who scored the first and only goal of this game, recovers, passes it back to Randy Martinez, and we're seeing some pressure starting to be applied by St. Louis as they no longer want to waste time on the clock as the Strykers keep hanging on to possession.
One of the ways to try and battle the 6th attacker being employed, pulled keeper by Empire, is of course to apply that backcourt press, backfield press, back turf press, excuse me.
And speaking of keepers, the Strykers going to their bench, bringing in Brandon Gomez, checking in for Brian Orozco. Fatigue a factor. We had a conversation with head coach Ono Obasi, and with the style that's used here in Empire, wanting to keep the keepers fresh, that's why the Strykers have gone to a platoon, going back and forth between Orozco and De Lima and Gomez. Long pass comes in to Andy Reyes. Reyes in that corner, finds himself in trouble, but gets it away. Scrum in the corner. Reyes still has it, sandwiched in between Druhi and Niamsi. Uzi Tayu's going to get himself involved in the scrum. Strykers still hanging on to it as Alami in the box. Players go down, no whistle. Finally, we have a whistle.
Looks like it's going to be a foul called against Empire just at the edge of the box. As players pick themselves up here and we get ready for a goalkeeper distribution.
Less than 3 minutes into the second quarter. Thomas has his pass blocked by Alami, and that's going to go off. Alami thinking it went off of him. The official stating,
I believe it's a foul called against Empire on the keeper.
Yes, that would be correct. Thank you. For a split second there, I thought there was a bit of confusion as to who the ball went out of play on. But nevertheless, we resume. Pass comes into NDI. NDI kicks it off of the scoreboard. Can't say we see that often in indoor. We can't say we've seen that often in Toyota Arena, but
Philly, we have a superstructure violation committed by the St. Louis Ambush, my most favorite of violations.
I mean, I've been calling games with you in this league for years. Shot by Stinson. Justin Stinson in that upper corner. Time to bring out my Uncle Franz, who keeps the schnapps in that same shelf. Strykers score. It is now 2-0.
The superstructure violation pays off for the Empire Strykers as the ball played off of the TV screens here in the middle of the field caused a restart for the Strykers. That sets up Justin Stinson to beautifully one-time right foot top shelf keg golazo for the stinger, Justin Stinson. Empire's up 2-0.
Great pass into Stinson, who has now registered his 8th goal of the season. Justin Stinson very much locked in. For those of you who don't know that name, write it down, memorize it, keep it to your memory. Justin Stinson, an elite player in the Major Arena Soccer League. Pass comes in to Duduka Carvalho into Chicunte. Another player that is new to the ambush, Jeremy Raley, who came in from the Baltimore Blast. Strykers sitting comfortably up 2-0. Nascimento trying to connect with Carvalho. Successfully does, but a great block by Israel Cisse. Cisse, the longest reigning member of the Empire Strykers. Hasn't played that many games this season, but is a legend in this league, a legend in this arena. Nobody has played more games underneath these bright lights than Israel Cisse.
Typically rocking the top knot as he has for the last 10 years. It's so weird to still see Izzy out there with the shaved dome piece, but nonetheless, that is Izzy Cisse, the longtime captain of the once Ontario Fury, now Empire Strykers. He's been here since day one.
Yeah, he is Mr. Empire, Mr. Ontario, whatever you want to call it.
Taking over an assistant coach's responsibilities more than the player responsibility this year, but good to see him back.
Pass comes in Uzi Tayu. Uzi making only his 3rd appearance this season as he has been struggling with knee problems. Not wanting to miss an opportunity to play here in Southern California as he and his brother Frank Tayu were here for a number of years. Hundelt trying to get by Mansoure, muscling Mansoure off of it.
The Tayu brothers still call the Inland Empire home during the offseason.
There's a shot ricocheting upper right.
Frank Tayu hosts his King's Cup here in the Inland Empire every year as well, too. His tournament featuring many of the young talent and stars of the indoor game across the North American continent. Players from Mexico, Canada, U.S. all participating in that off-season tournament.
Cisse with a pass into Perez. Perez nearly turns it over and does. Cisse, of note, played for the LA Galaxy, featured on a team that had David Beckham back when he was a near turnover by Nascimento as he was facing pressure from Marco Fabián. Thomas finds Araujo, who's wide open shot, and he scores! Bottom left corner where the dust mites dwell, and the ambush cut the lead into half, 2-1.
It's a brilliant pass, picking out the cherry-pick man sitting at the top of the offense here. St. Louis doing a fantastic job collecting it just inside the yellow to avoid a 3-liner and firing it into the back of the net. Beautiful goal, well worked, creative, and cleverly done by the ambush. The score is now 2-1.
2-1 and a great goal. Couldn't have come at a better time as the vast majority of possession fell by way of the Empire Strykers. And for Araujo, that's his 1st goal of the season. A native of Bound Brook, New Jersey, 6th season in the MASL, 2nd with the ambush. Featured for teams like the Harrisburg Heat, the Florida Tropics, and the Baltimore Blast. Let's not forget to mention his time with the United States national futsal team. He inserts his name offensively in tonight's game and inserts his name offensively this season for the first time. Fabián in the midfield. Goes into Gonzalez. Gonzalez, who has the name Bebe on his back shoulder. Taken away by Niamsi. Counter opportunity for St. Louis. Which, with the way the Strykers have been playing, that might be the only way they're going to score. Eskay into Araujo. Pass back into Eskay. Broken up by Empire. Ball is loose. Poked away. Recovered by Niamsi. Niamsi out of France. Spent some time with PSG's youth academy back in the day. Finds Carvalho. He's going to get pushed off of the ball by Aguirre, but no whistle called. We're seeing a little more back and forth than we saw in the entirety of the first quarter.
Duduca Carvalho's a very big man. That's takes a lot of pressure to throw him to the ground, and refs were not buying that there was enough in that particular moment.
2019-2020's MASL Rookie of the Year. Carvalho out of Brazil, 5th season with the Ambush. Came to the U.S. in that 1920 season. And, well, he didn't play during the 23-24 year because we mentioned it, visa issues. But I know head coach Jeff Locker and the entire staff of the St. Louis Ambush are thrilled that he is back. Big body, big able scorer, and there he is. Cheeky pass into the left. Ambush on the counter again. There's a shot that misses wide to the right.
Almost caught the outstretched boot of Axel Chicunte charging down that right side. Very close to a tap in at the back post and an even score line.
It's a good run by Julio Varela. Did not come up fruitful. NDI gets the ball taken away from him. Great defense by Varela, finding himself in the middle of a pass that was assuredly going to make its way to Alami.
Folks, be sure to catch MASL Monday every Monday night on MASL TV, and CBS Sports Golazo Network hosts Alex Bastiovansky and Phil Levanco are joined each week by special guests from across the league to recap the weekend's game and discuss the league's hot topics. Folks, time out on the field. We're going to take a quick break here. You are watching MASL on CBS Sports Golazo Network.
The wait is over. The 2025 MASL season is here. Bigger and better than ever. Get ready for high-speed action, jaw-dropping goals, and fierce competition as your favorite teams battle it out on the field. With intense rivalries, unforgettable moments, and new stars rising, the MASL delivers excitement every week. Get your tickets now and be part of the excitement, because this season, the action is non-stop.
Are you looking for inspiration? The FYI podcast delivers stories of inspiring individuals like the Strykers, Marco Fabián, Momo, and their remarkable personal journeys.
Because you're going to see people from all parts of life. They're us, everyday people facing everyday obstacles, and how they overcome them is a blueprint for all of us to learn from.
If you want to be inspired, subscribe to the FYI podcast.
We would like to thank our official hotel sponsor, the Ontario Airport Hotel. Conveniently located just 2 miles from the Ontario International Airport, 4 miles from the Ontario Convention Center, and 2 blocks from us here at Toyota Arena. Shout out to our friends at the Ontario Airport Hotel. And if you don't mind, Philly, I'd like to give a special shout out to the Ontario Airport Hotel for housing my evacuated co-workers. Huge shout out to the Ontario Airport Hotel, and of course, Jeff Burham, managing partner of the Empire Strykers, who helped coordinate that. Huge shout out to Jeff and the folks at the Ontario Airport Hotel. Massive, massive thank you.
Enjoyed our stays there. You and I have had the opportunity to stay in there a couple of times. Very comfortable beds, very clean setup. And they even have their own hotel cat. His name is Hilton. Why? Because I imagine the Hilton chain did at one point own the Ontario Airport Hotel. But folks, if you're looking for a trip to Southern California to catch an Empire Strykers game, that is the best hotel to stay at. No question about it.
Beautiful pool, beautiful hot tub, great conference rooms, killer classic Southern California Art Deco vibe to it. It's a beautiful spot.
No question about it. 6:32 remaining here in the half. The Empire Strykers currently leading the St. Louis Ambush. Strykers went up 2-0 until Rafael Araujo broke that gap with his first goal and his first point of the season. Strykers goal scorers were Justin Stinson and Abdul Mansouré, and that's how we find ourselves at this scoreline. Pass from Palmer into Oliveira, trying to connect up top to Abdul Mansouré. Mansouré wisely retreats and goes back to Stinson. Stinson into Palmer. Pass comes into the right to Reyes. Reyes into Perez. Perez with a shot, saved by Nascimento. Paulo making a positively awesome save. Tried to find an alliteration there, but I got a little tongue-tied. Oh, and there's an attempt. Oh, just clean clanks off of the right post. That was nearly the equalizer. Close call.
Empire got caught there on a change, turned the ball over. Keeper had to scramble to get back in, but great work by Gomez to get back in time to collect the rebound. Just off the post and wide.
And Will Niamsi almost found himself a goal until he ding-dong ring-a-ling-a-linged it off the right post.
We said it, you said it at the start of today's broadcast. It has been those mental mistakes for Empire that have led to goals. The defense has been stalwart throughout the traditional run of play, but a couple mental errors like that have led to goals that have been their undoing.
Passing to Fabián in that corner. Chacunte is going to close in on him. Over to Berto. Berto to Oliveira. Gomez wide open. Gomez, who scored from that angle, passes it in. Berto broken up by Chacunte. Palmer recovers. And there's going to be a pass back into Gomez. I saw Niamsi retreat to the bench. Nearly found himself with his third goal of the season. That was oh so close. Might have found its way onto MASL Mondays had he found the back of the net. Alami coincidentally finds Fabián. I'm not sure that pass was intended for Marco, but nevertheless the Strikers do recover here. 4 minutes and 13 seconds remaining in the second quarter.
Strikers have to clean it up a little sloppy play. Ambush need to do a better job of exploiting.
We haven't seen much from the two star players of both sides. Fabián for the Strikers, Frank Tayu for the St. Louis Ambush. But still so much more soccer to be played. Oliveira back over to Fabián. Fabián currently leading the league in goals scored with 13. Frank Tayu of the St. Louis Ambush have scored in every single game other than the season opener against Kansas City. And we have a whistle.
That's going to be 2 touches called against Empire's keeper, and a delay of game warning issued to Marco Fabián after the fact there for kicking the ball away. But the thing about bringing your keeper forward is they have to cross the center line before they can touch the ball a second time. Touching it twice on the defensive end will result in a free kick from the spot, as we just saw there, Philly.
Nascimento into Carvalho. Cisse, former LA Galaxy man, pressuring him. Chip pass in to Uzi Tayu from Jeremy Raley, recovered by De La Torre. De La Torre in the Cisse. Cisse trying to find Martinez in that midfield. Martinez sticking with it. Poked away by the ambush. Raley recovers. Nascimento using the wall to find Uzi Tayu. And he's trying to connect with Carvalho, but that's going to find its way into the stands with 3:01 left in the second quarter.
As that ball ricochets off the top and heads out, we will have the ball played in directly from the spot. Both teams head to the bench to get a quick change and fresh legs out on the turf.
Uzi Tayu is 12th season professionally indoor. Is a Ron Newman Cup finalist with 3 different teams. Aguirre, oh, a near turnover and almost a costly one. Strikers really averted a crisis as Araujo almost had himself his second goal of the game. Pass into Stinson. Stinson advancing it. Past the yellow line with a shot. Scoots it, but Nascimento makes the save.
Once again, to illustrate the point, it has been the mental and physical mistakes by Empire that lead to the biggest opportunities coming back the other direction. A massive one right there. St. Louis once again unable to put the ball in the back of the net after they picked the pocket of the Empire Strikers.
Strikers looking to pressure. Nascimento into the right, trying to find Chacunte. Chacunte's header is off the mark. Picked up by Tayu. Munir Alami. Wanted to say freshman, rookie this season. That's what you get when you call a lot of college sports. Poked away. Carvalho has it in the corner, trying to get by Stinson. And Stinson's going to get called for the foul as Carvalho hits the turf.
just a common foul. You could see the ambush there calling for a blue card. They wanted the 2-minute man advantage. Ref adjudicating it as a common foul. However, this will be a set piece in a very dangerous location for the ambush.
Very dangerous indeed. Keep an eye on Frank Tayu on that far right post. Chipped, kicked away. Briggs, Christian Briggs, settles on it.
You can see the idea of that set piece was to have that second pass arrive at Frank Tayu's head, broken up by Empire.
I haven't seen many minutes from Frank Tayu, whose nickname is the King, for a multitude of reasons. Number one, he was born into royalty, but of course, with his statistics in the Major Arena Soccer League, it's a title that he's very proud of and he's worked very hard for. Stinson, great defense on Varela. Varela settles in on it, back to Nascimento. Into Briggs. Briggs off of the wall, picked up by Reyes. Header by Palmer. Less than a minute remains here in this second quarter. Cisse battling with Niamsi. Cisse wins the battle. Opts to go to Palmer. Palmer goes back to Gonzalez. Strikers are going to look to let the clock expire, or at least shorten itself before they get their next shot on, not wanting to allow St. Louis another attempt. Fabián back to Palmer. Less than 30 remain here in the second quarter. Palmer back to Fabián. Fabián to Stinson. Fabián recovers, 15 seconds. Over to the right to De Leon. De Leon trying to create some space for himself, trying to get by James. James closes in on him. Stinson with some fancy footwork, booted out of danger by the ambush. Tayu's gonna have to hurry up, and that's gonna be the end of the second quarter. Tayu looking over at the official to see if he would call it for a foul on Marco Fabián. Official decides to go otherwise, and we end the half with the Empire Strykers leading the St. Louis ambush by a score of 2-1.
You can see an absolutely emphatic no foul call there right at the death of the first half from our officials. Folks, we'd like to remind you here at halftime to get the latest news on the MASL and your favorite teams by following MASL Soccer on Facebook and Instagram and MASL Arena on Twitter. We would, of course, like to remind you to head to redcross.org/CBS or text 90999 to be part of the relief efforts in wake of the catastrophic fires here in Los Angeles. It has been a crazy week, to say the least, for those of us here in LA. We appreciate any support you can give in that regard.
Absolutely. It's been a tough time here in Los Angeles. We're just waiting for confirmation as we're waiting to potentially go pitch side with Panda. But while we're waiting there, let's just talk about the game really quickly. Look, it's been a 2-1 effort, a very low-scoring game thus far. A couple of goals scored by the Strikers early on by Abdul Mansour and Justin Stinson, but St. Louis ambush did manage to cut into the lead as Rafael Araujo managed to find the back of the net. But I think we're just going to go down. All right, we stand corrected.
Folks, you are watching the Major Arena Soccer League on CBS Sports Golazo Network. We will be back after a short break.
The wait is over. The 2025 MASL season is here. Bigger and better than ever. Get ready for high-speed action, jaw-dropping goals, and fierce competition as your favorite teams battle it out on the field. With intense rivalries, unforgettable moments, and new stars rising, the MASL delivers excitement every week. Get your tickets now and be part of the excitement, because this season, the action is non-stop.
Are you looking for inspiration? The FYI podcast delivers stories of inspiring individuals like the Strykers, Marco Fabián, Momo, and their remarkable personal journeys.
Because you're going to see people from all parts of life. They're us, everyday people facing everyday obstacles, and how they overcome them is a blueprint for all of us to learn from.
If you want to be inspired, subscribe to the FYI podcast.
Hey everybody, it's Panda here. Joining me today in the vault is one of the OG members of this franchise, Andy Reyes. Andy, thank you so much for joining me today.
No, thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. All right, so let's get into it. You spent the first 5 years of your career with the Ontario Fury, now the Empire Strykers.
Yeah.
You made your way to San Diego and Texas, and now you are back here in the Inland Empire. Talk to me about what it feels like to be back and your expectations of this team.
No, well, I'm super excited to be back. I wanted to be back sooner, but I mean, things didn't happen that way. Got some experience, came back, and I'm just trying to get the team back to playoffs.
Yeah, we'll get into that in just a second. But first, some things age like fine wine, and I feel like you're one of those. Last season was your best season by far in this league. You're entering your 9th season now, and you are leading the league in assists, averaging a point per game, which is more than last season. So you're definitely on track to eclipse last season. Tell us how you feel you are playing as a player, and do you have any expectations for yourself?
I look at the points, but I really don't focus on that. I'm trying to help the team win. I mean, if I can contribute, then I'm happy, but as long as the team wins, doesn't matter.
Leading the team in assists means you have a lot of targets out there. Talk to me a little bit about having lots of people out front to score those goals and credit you with those assists.
Hey, I give the credit more to my shooters. We have a lot of good shooters, and just trying to put it in the right place at the right time so they can score.
You certainly know how to do that well. And something else you know how to do is, as you mentioned, playoffs. You were able to enter the playoffs with the Texas Outlaws back-to-back seasons.
Yeah.
So what is your experience from that coming into this team that has yet to see that as the Empire Strykers? How can you help them to make it into that postseason this year?
So I feel like we got to get back into the training ground. We're trying to, obviously, we dropped the winnable game, right, this last one, and that can't happen anymore, We got to set up the rest of the games to get a playoff spot, and the last 2 seasons, we made it to playoffs, but we lost in the first round to the San Diego Sockers, and we're trying to get over that hump.
Yeah, well, I think this is a team that can do it.
Yeah.
How do you feel about just the overall camaraderie of this team? They really do seem locked in. I feel like a few games they went down, but they're really able to rally back to make it a competitive game and even pull out a win from time to time. Tell me how you feel this team is playing as a cohesive unit now.
Like I said it before, I think we're getting better each game. We're understanding this is a new system for mostly everyone, right? And I think we're gelling little by little. We're learning Obasi's system little by little, and we're just trying to put it all together.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's today.
Hey, you know what? No better time than the present. So hopefully today is that day. I have no doubt you guys have been such a fun team so far to watch. I can't wait to see how the rest of the season plays out.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Across the nation, MASL players are giving back, utilizing their professional power to touch and inspire people in their local communities nationwide. Free soccer clinics, where kids can meet their heroes and learn new skills. After-school programs and special events. And surprise visits to the classroom. visiting brave kids in the hospital, bringing joy and hope, supporting special needs care, partnering with local businesses, and so much more. MASL, passion on the field, purpose off the field, committed to community.
Shoot! He scores!
MASL in 5, back once again. What's going on, folks? I'm Alex Bastiavansky. It is great to see you again. We got lots to get you caught up on from stuff that's gone down over the past few days, and we've got to preview what's coming up this weekend in just 5 minutes. So let's go.
Now on up to Reggett at the target position. Here's Reggett turning over to Acosta. He scoops and scores! Leo Acosta!
Fan voting for the MASL All-Star Game is now closed, and Leo Acosta of KC is one of your chosen forwards. 7 points so far this season. Also at forward is Nilton DeAndrade of Utica City, who will get to play in front of his hometown fans. He got 18.23% of the vote. He's got 6 points so far this season. And his teammate Juan Alava is the chosen defender. He's been rock solid for the boys in blue this campaign. 2 points so far to go along with 7 huge blocks for UCFC. And in goal, not a big shock to see, it's Willie B from the Milwaukee Wave. Always a fan favorite, and he has definitely earned the nod as Willie leads all goalkeepers this season so far with 5 wins. And be sure to tune into MASL Monday next week with myself and Phil Levanco, as Commissioner Keith Tozer will be on the show, and he will reveal the final chosen players for the big game. And of course, it's all leading up to the league's extravaganza, the MASL All-Star Game on that beautiful blue turf at the Adirondack Bank Center in Utica, New York on February 12th. Can't wait. Okay, big congratulations goes out to Nick Pereira of the Tacoma Stars, who last weekend recorded his 226th career assist to pass the legendary Leo Gibson and become the MASL all-time assists leader. Let's take a quick look at a few of the biggest games from last weekend. San Diego hosting Chihuahua. This was redemption for the Sockers, who last season dropped every regular season game to the Savage. Tavoy Morgan, huge, with 4 goals in the contest as Chihuahua suffers their first loss of the campaign. Baltimore hosted Utica City, and the Blast have UCFC's number so far this season. This is their 2nd straight win against them. They win the contest 10-4. Juan Pereira, 3 goals in the match. Tacoma headed to Empire to take on the suddenly surging Strykers, who have won 3 of their last 4 contests. Beautiful goal by Marco Fabián right there. Tacoma has now lost 5 straight contests. And congratulations to the Harrisburg Heat, who picked up their first win of the season over the Texas Outlaws. 9-8 the final score. Joey Tavernese with a hat trick in that contest, which leads us into the players of the week. In goal, Mike Stierhofer of the Baltimore Blast, his teammate Patrick Thompson, the defender, and offensively, Joey Tavernese, as mentioned, the hat trick against the Texas Outlaws. 6 points total over 2 games last week to get the offensive nod. Defensively, Patrick Thompson of the Blast, he was a monster against UCFC with 3 goals and 2 blocks as well. And your top goalkeeper, his teammate Mike Zierhofer of the Blast, 30 big saves for the weekend in 2 Baltimore Blast victories. Here are your top plays of the week now.
Esa frase le queda muy cómoda al que va ganando. Pregúntale a los otros.
Back it on the far wing, coming in, Huff, and little chip and a score! Oh, that was beautiful by Huff.
Dantas picks the ball up in the corner. Dantas on the swivel, and Dantas scores!
Favilla out to his right. Francis cross, second effort, finds the roof of the net.
But 4 years in San Diego, long shot and a better goal! Que golazo!
Opportunity, and he hasn't wasted it. Shot by Fabián! What an amazing goal, hitting that right side. The Strykers go up 3-1.
My goodness, Marco!
Forward to Pinal, off the wall. Pinal's got a chance on the bike. Rebound there. What a save from Zierhofer. And how many times can we say that Zierhofer has been on fire tonight?
Merging the corner on Cardenas, right open in the middle. Oh, baby! Boris Pardo, save of the night by far.
And that is going to wrap things up for today's show. But just a reminder that all throughout the MASL season, to stay up to date with everything that's going on in the league, be sure to check out their official social media outlets. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Hey guys, sorry I didn't get to speak with you guys at the half. I know Coach had a lot he needed to say to the players. They just came out, so I imagine he's got a game plan going on. I know load management is a huge part of all of this. Fatigue is going to be a huge factor towards the end of this matchup, so hopefully whatever he said to them in the locker room has got them fired up and ready to go. So let's get this game started, and let's hope that they can pull out a win tonight. Guys, back to you up in the booth.
Thank you, Panda. Folks, subscribe today to MASL TV on YouTube. That's where you'll find all the game rebroadcasts, MASL shows, highlights, and more.
All right, folks, we're moments away from the start of the third quarter. Currently, the Empire Strykers are leading the St. Louis Ambush by a score of 2-1. For the Strykers, their goal scorers, Abdul Mansouri and Justin Stinson. For the St. Louis Ambush, Rafael Araujo. The two players, the highest scoring players, I should say, for both sides have yet to make their name felt, but still plenty of time to be had. And folks, look, we're suffering in Los Angeles, as you see on the screen. If you want to donate to the American Red Cross, you saw the numbers, you saw the site, and we are underway. Live from Toyota Arena in Ontario, California. For those wondering, just a mere 34 to 40 miles away from Los Angeles, depending on what part of LA you're talking about. But we're starting to feel those high winds here in the Inland Empire, and we're starting to feel the heat as a shot by Justin Stinson comes off Apollo Nascimento. You like how I wielded that one in.
10th shot of the game for Empire. They finished the first half with 9 shots to the Ambush's 4. 2 saves recorded in that second quarter.
Shot turnover just misses to the right. A near costly error by St. Louis as that pass came in to Eskay. Hundelt is going to boot it across that yellow line. Battle between two former teammates, Frank Taillou, Robert Palmer, and Justin Stinson.
As I was saying there, 2 shots and saves recorded by Ambush in that second half gives them 4 saves for the half to Empire's 1 save.
Alami! And there's a whistle being blown, much to the surprise of Lanier Alami as he had a short shot counter.
And interestingly, that call was made by Brian Miller on the far side of the field. And our referee, Kelsey Harms, did not call that, who was right on top of the play. Interesting.
And folks, for those that want more content out of the Major Arena Soccer League, you're not going to see it at home, but on our board, Soccer in 60, make sure you tune in. A really great podcast that talks about the Empire Strykers and a lot of the local soccer here in Los Angeles. I might be selfishly promoting that as I am one of the hosts of that show, but either way, a lot of great content there. Mansouri on the counter is going to slow things up. This pass has a little too much spice on it as he tried to find Martinez. Martinez connects to De Leon. De Leon is going to go to the midfield, connecting with Emmanuel Aguirre, who's in his second stint for the Empire Strykers. Aguirre, who came out of the Liga MX's youth academies. Pass into Mansouri. Mansouri with NDI. 2 former teammates, I should add right away. Oliveira back to Aguirre. Strykers slowing the tempo, trying to frustrate the Ambush. Aguirre is going to pass it in to Oliveira. The Ambush are starting to go in off of the board. Chested shot and a goal! George De Leon wields it in, threading the netting. The Strykers go up by a score of 3-1. George De Leon is nicknamed the Worm. Worms it through past Nascimento. Strykers go up by 2.
Once again, it's Abdul Mansouri with the Wallace Scora. A little bit more traditional in this respect as the pass goes off the glass as we see Mansouri collect in the low post. Fire that one off the boards to George, who slams it home. Empire's up 3-1 on the Wallace Scora.
And such a smart play. You see how De Leon trapped it with his chest, held on to it for a while, evaluated his shot, fires it, and the Strykers go up 3-1. But as we know in the indoor game, I've said it time and time again, 3-1 is not by any means a big lead. Neither is 7-3 for that matter. But that's not the scoreline right now. Mansouri, his second point in the game, involved with 2 Wallace scorers this evening. And look, this is a big game for both teams, as both teams played very competitive over the weekend. Strykers losing at Cable Dome Arena against the Kansas City Comets, MASL Ron Newman Cup finalists. And then losing a heartbreaker to the Dallas Sidekicks. The St. Louis Ambush playing against the defending champions, the Chihuahua Savage, losing their first game 9-3, competing very candidly, losing 11-9. These are 2 teams that I have no doubt are going to see each other towards the end of the season. And there is a turnover.
Foul on the low boards. It'll be Empire's ball with the set piece in their offensive zone.
Ambush came into tonight's game with a record of 2-6-0. The Strykers with a record of 3-5-0. Shot into Nascimento. Fabián wide off of the Recovery Lab dasher board. Shout out to our sponsors here, Recovery Lab. De Leon wielding his way by Druhi into the left. Stinson back over to Palmer. Fabián with some space. De Leon back here in Los Angeles after having played a couple of seasons with Texas Outlaws, I should say.
Jorge De Leon, George, as he goes by, was a fan favorite here when he played here with the Ontario Fury. Great to see him back with the Empire Strykers.
Not sure why you're saying was, he still is. Munir Alami with a shot. He misses off the MASL dasher board. Rebound's gonna come by way of Fabián Stinson.
Munir Alami, what a revelation he's been, speaking of rookie campaigns. 7 goals, 4 assists, 11 points already. 3rd leading scorer for this Empire team. The Moroccan international has really put a stamp on his rookie campaign, my friend.
Yeah, played with the Moroccan national U19 team. Played professionally in Morocco's top flights. Spent some time playing indoor in the state of Illinois. And actually, a fun statistic, he was the very first goal scorer for the Empire Strykers this season down in Chihuahua. Eskay trying to play some defense to dispossess the Strykers. A pass from Oliveira trying to find Stinson. Little too much tapatio, but Stinson does recover. Stinson with the Amsi on him. Fabián fires away, he misses. Picked back up by Alami. Alami with a shot, he misses. Ricochets over to Stinson. Stinson fires, saved by Nascimento. Rayleigh to Druhi.
Oh, Nascimento getting peppered like a Caesar salad at the moment with an overzealous busboy.
I got nothing. Pass into Tayu. Tayu chests it. Headed away by Palmer. It was very clever, by the way. Hundelt into Eskay.
So, it's my shout out to you folks back in St. Louis. You know what I'm referencing.
I love St. Louis. Missouri, the show me state. Ball is loose, picked up by Mansoret. Counter for the Strykers. Mansoret into Delatorre, shot not enough on it as Nascimento makes an easy save. Delatorre coming in from Kansas City last year where he only featured in 6 games. He's going to easily eclipse that this season playing for the Empire Strykers. A young and talented player. Varela has it in the midfield. Julio Varela, as we alluded to earlier on the top of the broadcast, in his 6th season, having played for a number of teams in the MASL. Off the wall to Tayu. Tayu trapped on the corner with Cisse and Aguirre. Great defense by the Strykers. And between Cisse and Aguirre, look, we haven't called Frank Tayu's name very often. Not only because he hasn't played as many minutes, but he hasn't gotten any clean looks at Strykers keeper, which in this case, in this 3rd quarter, is Brian Orozco.
Keeping the king off the scoring sheet is no small task. As the shot comes in, blocked by the wall and recovered by the Strykers.
Aguirre has it in the midfield, trying to get by Araujo. Into Mansoret. Mansoret with some space. He's got Palmer wide open to the left, but Araujo's going to close in on him. Foul down on the turf. It's going to go against St. Louis, and it looks like it might be a corner kick restart for the Strykers.
MASLsoccer.com is your home for everything Major Arena Soccer League. All the latest news, leaderboards, highlights, and more available at MASLsoccer.com.
As we have seen time and time again this season, Andy Reyes at the helm of the restart in the Strykers attack zone, off of the boards, poked away by NDI.
Tried another Walla score attempt there to the runner, crashing in on the box, just couldn't get the timing right.
And Fabián tried to chip it past Nascimento. Telegraphed it a little bit. You're not going to beat Paulo that easily. Hundelt facing pressure from Reyes into NDI. NDI, who started his career in this league as a target forward, has been very successful operating out of the backfield. Kicked out of danger by Gonzalez, picked up by Thomas. Thomas, another player who was featured for the St. Louis Ambush for a number of years. Off of the corner, off that Ontario Airport Hotel label. From Tayu into NDI. Less than 8 remains in this 3rd quarter. Next dead ball, we're heading to immediate timeout. Fancy footwork by NDI. Using the wall as his
teammate, and that's going to be a restart for the Strykers. A very smart play, by the way, by Mo Ndiaye.
Folks, once again, we'd like to give a shout out to Gordy Gerson and Joey Tavernisi for being the commissioner's picks to add to the All-Star game. Folks, the MASL All-Star game heading to Utica, New York on February 12th. Follow MASL on social media for updates on tickets and more.
Indoor soccer fans, it's time to unleash a giant leap for fandom. Introducing MASL Indoor Soccer Fantasy Football. Build your dream team, invite your friends, and create your own draft league, all for free. Draft and trade players and win bragging rights as your team dominates the league. With MASLI Football, you're not just a fan, you're part of the action. Go to MASLI Football to sign up, get started, and play.
Join the Hope Through Housing Foundation in empowering children and families in the Inland Empire and beyond through after-school programs and financial coaching. To learn more to see how Hope is making a difference, visit hopethroughhousing.org. And our shout out to the folks at National Corps. We know a lot of folks needing to be rehoused upcoming soon. As we are sitting here watching a game of indoor soccer, we are not remiss to think of all the people who no longer have an indoors to go home to.
You bring up the term hope. What hope is something that George De Leon did with his third goal of the season, giving the Strykers a little bit of breathing room as St. Louis has been closing in on Empire. Historically, the Ambush have never beaten this organization, going back to the days of the Ontario Fury. They did not play against one another till 2021. A counter, Munir Alami looking to get by Christian Briggs. A shot, he just misses off the plexi. Comes into Marco Fabián, and that's going to get kicked right into St. Louis's bench. It's going to be a turnover, but a near opportunity for the Strykers to once again strike back.
I see what you did there. Well played, sir.
I try. As I mentioned, these two teams met last season. The Strykers only had 3 wins, 2 of them by way of the St. Louis Ambush, a game in St. Louis, St. Charles to be precise, the home of Empire Strykers. Justin Stinson, by the way. It was an 8-7 game there and then an 8-7 game here in Ontario. A lot of close efforts, but between both sides, we've seen a lot of improvement on St. Louis and a lot of improvement on Empire. These should be 2 teams contesting for postseason. Araujo trying to find Carvalho. Excuse me, I got a little tongue-tied there. Araujo with Eskay, and that's going to come off of Palmer. The Ambush looking for a handball. No whistle being blown. Alami in the Stinson. Counter opportunity for the Strykers. Back to Alami. Munir with a shot. He just misses to the right of the post.
You could see Alami immediately hands to the face. Felt like he should have buried that one in the back of the net. Instead, it ding-dongs off the post and out wide.
Had he converted on that one, that should have been Munir's 8th goal of the season. Very comfortable in his rookie campaign. The 3rd leading scorer for the Empire Strykers behind Marco Fabián and Justin Stinson. And that's huge considering the vast majority of goals that the Strykers did have last season came by way of Marco. De La Torre into Oliveira. Oliveira, another outstanding young talent in his rookie season for the Empire Strykers. We've seen some flashes of brilliance, I should say, from the young Brazilian.
And speaking of the Kings Cup, Ciro Oliveira signed during the Kings Cup by Empire last year based on his performance in that tournament hosted by Frank Tayu here in the Empire.
Alami tried to skirt it through, no one there, picked back up by Oliveira. Oliveira, who came by way of LA Force in the NISA leagues in the outdoor, but also played collegiately in the Big West Conference at Cal State Bakersfield. Also played in Division II at Cal Poly Pomona. So Oliveira, no stranger to competitive soccer here in Southern California.
See Uzi Tayu trying to kick the ball off the defender there, knowing Empire is already on a delay of game warning. Next delay of game would be a 5-minute yellow card.
Taiyu with pressure, going to NDI. These two had some success a couple of seasons ago. Varela tries to walla it into Taiyu, but Palmer is there once again to break up the play. Reyes finds himself in trouble, but Berto once again is there to clear the air. Robert Palmer, last season the MASL Defender of the Year, and there you go, another example as to why he earned that title last season.
Certainly not the first time in his career, and if he keeps playing like that, won't be the last.
Orozco. And NDI is going to come into contact with, I believe that's Abdul Mansoure. Mansoure goes down to the turf, and we have a whistle. Let's take a look at that again. Thought we were going to look for another superstructure violation, as you like to allude to.
You can see NDI going straight into the back of Mansoure. Protecting players in the air is certainly something across the beautiful game, indoor, outdoor, beach, any version.
De Leon tried to find Mansoure on that far left post, picked back up by Chacunte. Picked off, I should say, by Varela. Taiyu and Orozco, and Taiyu is going to send Orozco in to the boards.
We have a blue card issued against, I'm not sure if it's going to be Frank Taiyu for coming in, giving the high fives that he's getting. I have to assume this means Brian Orozco is heading to the sin bin. We're going to take a look at this one more time as the ball comes into the boards here. And yes, that is going to be Orozco who gets charged with the blue card. He will be heading to the sin bin. It is going to be 2 minutes of a man advantage for St. Louis. Billy, how are St. Louis doing on their power play so far this season?
33% on the power play for the Strikers. Their penalty kill is at 73%. Brian Orozco finds himself back into the land of sin, a Smurf card, as we love to call it. Why do we call it a Smurf? How many tiny blue things are you aware of in this world? This is going to be an opportunity for Frank Taiyu. Shootout with Brandon Gomez. Taiyu, one of the greatest, in fact, the greatest scorer in the history of the Major Arena Soccer League, is going to go one-on-one with Brandon Gomez. We're hearing the crowd chant and yell. This should be a big one.
For denial of a goal-scoring opportunity, Frank Taiyu will have the opportunity to get the ambush back within one here. Can the King find the back of the net? Or can Brandon Gomez come up with the big stop?
Big opportunity here, waiting for the official to blow the whistle. Will it be Frank Taiyu? Will it be Brandon Gomez? A one-on-one opportunity with the score 3-1 with 4:45 here in the third quarter. Little anticlimactic there as we were waiting for the official. I'm a little out of breath right here. I'm as excited as you are. Taiyu with the opportunity. Taiyu with a shot. Saved by Brandon Gomez, denying the King, who tried to wield his mighty scepter. The Strikers are still up by a score of 3-1. A huge save for Brandon Gomez.
The Strikers are not out of the woods yet. They still have 2 minutes in which they will be a man down. It is 5v4 in the outfield for the next 2 minutes. A chance to improve that 73% penalty kill on the season for the Strikers. For the ambush, a chance to pull back within one.
Eskay. And we'll start to see the power play and the penalty kill defense.
What a massive save by Brandon Gomez. Outstretched boot, using every inch of his frame there to deny the greatest scorer in the history of the league.
Pass comes into the corner, another save by Gomez. Gomez, who's been sharing time in between the sticks with Orozco and De Lima here in his second season in the MASL out of Los Angeles, California, by way of Southgate. Shot by Varela, kicked out of danger by Palmer. That's going to be a restart for the ambush. Gomez, who played his high school at San Pedro, collegiately at Vanguard, played with the LA Force in Niza, came up big moments ago, a one-on-one with the most terrifying goal scorer in the Major Arena Soccer League. We are under 4 to go, approaching 60 seconds within this power play. Gonzalez is going to kick it right over to Uzi Taiyu. 56 seconds remain in this power play. You know, Brian Orozco, for all these saves he's had, he's one of the MASL's leaders as far as penalty minutes are concerned. Varela into Carvalho, shot looked like it was a shot, broken up. James Thomas had it. Eskay, player down on the turf. That is Varela, and that's going to be a foul against the Strykers. I believe it's going to go against Alan Perez.
And Alan Perez is going to be heading to the sin bin. We've got a second blue card issued against the Empire Strykers. It is going to be 5-on-3 in the outfield for the next few seconds until the first penalty expires. The high boot being called as a blue card here, however not called as a blue card earlier, has got the Strykers bench up in arms.
Oh, Dios mío. The Strykers have Israel Cisse, Jose Gonzalez, and Robert Palmer in. Stretching out. Eskay. 40 seconds remains of the first power play. A run. Robert Palmer actually leads the league historically in shorthanded goals.
Robert Palmer never going to beat Eskay in a foot race, unfortunately.
Eskay, a talented player. Pass into Carvalho, back into Eskay. 20 seconds remains. Shot off of the board. 15 seconds remains from a 5-on-4. A scrum and a battle. And you have to credit Israel Cisse for his attack on Tayu.
13 seconds remain in the 5-on-3.
Well, that's what I meant. I apologize. Thank you for the correction.
We will head back to 5-on-4 after the 13-second break.
That's what I meant, but didn't sound that way. Carvalho with a shot, and there is Gomez with another save. Booted out of danger by Gonzalez. That should expire one power play scenario. It's going to be 5-on-4 as Orozco now heads onto the turf. Eskay into the right, shot, and a goal! A power play goal by the St. Louis Ambush. It is Duduka Carvalho. It is now 3-2.
Duduka does a great job of hammering this home. Brian Orozco got his jersey stuck on the gate trying to leave the power play and couldn't get across the field to get on in time, and that allowed a 5-on-3 for an extra few seconds. The St. Louis Ambush take advantage. They fire into the back of the net, and we've got ourselves a one-goal game. And with the first power play having ended right before the goal was scored, that will negate the second power play, and we will return to even strength football, soccer.
Third goal of the season for Carvalho. Always a heated contest between the Ambush and the Strykers.
We see a conversation happening between the game officials and the St. Louis Ambush bench. Not sure what this is about. The Strykers were frustrated that the door was not opened for them. They had to open it themselves. A jersey got stuck in the door as it was opening. I've never seen that before. That delayed the Strykers' ability to get on the field.
Well, nevertheless, with 2 minutes and 36 seconds remaining here in the third quarter, the Strykers up by a score of 3-2.
Folks, what a perfect time to remind you to head to redcross.org/CBS or to text in 90999 and do anything you can to help our first responders here in Los Angeles battling against one of the most horrific natural disasters in American history. And certainly on behalf of Philly, myself, Panda, and the entire Empire Strykers team, we would like to wish our sincerest thanks to firefighters from the entire western half of North America who have showed up here in Los Angeles to help us with this dire situation, as currently the Empire Strykers are still pleading their cases to try and figure out why the door was not opened for them as it traditionally would be, what happened with trying to get a man back out onto the field after the end of that power play.
I'm going to give a shout out to firefighters globally, as we've had firefighters come in from Canada, Mexico, and South Africa. I don't want to miss anybody, but we do have a lot of firefighters converging into this part of the world globally. And I will tell you this, for LA, the people of the city are getting together, and I've never seen LA stronger than it has been. And big shout out to everybody that has gotten themselves involved in this unfortunate set of circumstances. A pass comes in as Stinson from Gomez. Would have been one of the prettiest dimes that you would have seen. Just had a little too much going over Justin Stinson's head.
Certainly not just the glamour and glitz of Hollywood that have been affected. People from all walks of life that could certainly use your hand. So if you get a chance, head over to that Red Cross website and do what you can to help us out.
Oliveira Well, I should say Eskay as he heads it back to Nascimento.
I know, Philly, yesterday I was driving around grabbing supplies, dropping it off at the fire station. It was great to see a line of people waiting to drop off donations when I headed over.
It's not even just that. I mean, in some cases, like some of our donations have been denied. Tayu getting by his defender. Smart move by Frank to get by Emmanuel Aguirre, but he gets dispossessed. Pass comes into Stinson. Alami's going to charge up for this counter. Stinson looking to get by NDI. He successfully does. He somehow hits it.
And that's got to be a blue card for Boarding. And indeed, ref goes to the pocket. Mo NDI going to the sin bin for 2 minutes. Boarding is the call against Justin Stinson. Clear as day from up here. Power play is going to be on for Empire. Empire had a rough start to the season trying to convert on their power plays, have they not, my friend?
I mean, we're talking 10% on the power play, so yes, a very rough start. We're taking a look at that replay. Once again, no question about the boarding call on Mo NDI. Call it a tactical foul as Justin Stinson was utilizing his fancy footwork and his tomfoolery to get by defenders. But now the Strikers have an opportunity to pad some of the stats. The penalty kill for the ambush coming into today has been 80%, so we'll see how they line up in this little diamond. De Leon retreats into Fabián.
What's perplexing is the Strikers play with the man advantage for the entire game. So how it has managed to not be as successful here with Berto Palmer wearing the 6th attacker jersey in place of a keeper moving forward. So a super power play for Empire with the empty net and a defender wearing the goalie shirt.
Will it be a 6th attacker dagger or a 6th attacker stagger? We shall see. Less than a minute remains here in this third quarter. Fabián into Palmer. Palmer knows how to score. Not known for his goal scoring, though. Had an amazing assist on Fabián for a goal of the year last week. Alami into Fabián. Fabián, no stranger, trying to get by Chacunte. Back over to Alami. Less than 40 to go. Palmer with space, Palmer with a shot. Robert Palmer, might as well say it. He's addicted to goals. Doctor, give us the news.
Robert Palmer, AKA Berto, and we've got a Berto bomb. Robert Palmer, former Defender of the Year, showing off the offensive skills as he picks one in far post past the outstretched arms of Paulo Nascimento. And the Strikers regain their 2-goal lead. It's 4-2.
Not only is it a Berto bombshell, but it's a power play goal for the Empire Strykers, capitalizing on what was somewhat of a suspect power play. They managed to convert successfully. They now lead 4-2. 30 seconds remaining. That, of course, ends the power play. Eskay on the run. Eskay with a shot. He just misses above the upper left corner. And that's going to come out of play off of the Strikers. Less than 20 remaining on the clock. St. Louis tried to get a quick restart in, but the referees deny them. Rolls over to Tayu, Uzi Tayu, that is. Eskay with Martinez in front of him. The captain of the ambush in Araujo, who scored the first goal of the game for St. Louis. Less than 10 remains into the corner. Carvalho with a touch, looking potentially for a bicycle, but the clock is going to expire. The Strikers lead the St. Louis ambush by a score of 4-2, folks. Don't you dare go anywhere. This has been an exciting game. Back in just a moment for the final quarter of tonight's matchup. You are watching the Major Arena Soccer League on CBS Sports Golazo Network.
The wait is over. The 2025 MASL season is here. Bigger and better than ever. Get ready for high-speed action, jaw-dropping goals, and fierce competition as your favorite teams battle it out on the field. With intense rivalries, unforgettable moments, and new stars rising, the MASL delivers excitement every week. Get your tickets now and be part of the excitement, because this season, the action is non-stop.
Are you looking for inspiration? The FYI podcast delivers stories of inspiring individuals like the Strykers, Marco Fabián, Momo, and their remarkable personal journeys.
Because you're going to see people from all parts of life. They're us, everyday people facing everyday obstacles, and how they overcome them is a blueprint for all of us to learn from.
If you want to be inspired, subscribe to the FYI podcast.
San Antonio Regional Hospital is a proud sponsor of the Empire Strykers, keeping our community strong, healthy, and active for over 115 years. San Antonio Regional Hospital, here for life. A flurry of action. Philly in the third quarter saw Empire outshoot the ambush 7-6. We saw 2 saves made by the goalkeeping tandem of Orozco and Gomez for Empire, and 5 saves in goal for Paulo Nascimento.
And we also saw the second goal of the season for Robert Palmer. Power play goal for the Empire Strykers. That goal for Berto, as his nickname is his 78th career goal in the regular season playing in the Major Arena Soccer League, and it couldn't have come at a better time. Strykers have struggled somewhat on the power play this season, but they certainly capitalized on that by credit of Robert Palmer in his 11th year in the MASL. Played 6 seasons in Kansas City. This is his second stint with the Empire Strykers, a multiple MASL Defender of the Year, Elite 6 MASL finalist with the Kansas City Comets. And I know that this coaching staff and this crowd are happy that Berto Palmer is back in Toyota Arena. 15 minutes remain. 15 minutes separates us from a winner and a loser. Will it be the Strykers? Will it be the ambush? Well, you got to stick around and watch CBS Sports Golazo Network. And we are underway for the start of this fourth quarter.
Congratulations to Robert Palmer. He has crossed the 150-point mark in his career. Sensational to see the century-and-a-half mark crossed by Berto Palmer with his 151st MASL point.
Might as well say it, he's addicted to points. Not only that, he's the all-time leading shot blocker in the Major Arena Soccer League. Palmer, without a doubt, one of the elite players that this game has. And I've said that about a couple of players thus far. Why? Because you have a lot of talented players between both sides. A foul's going to go against Druhi. Haven't really spoken too much about Zachary Druhi in his second season with the ambush. Product of the University of Missouri at St. Louis. Restart for Empire. Now, Strykers have been very successful in multiple quarters. Pass comes in to Brandon Gomez, Gomez, who has scored from that corner. He did so against the Tacoma Stars a couple of weeks ago. Has put in a very good shift, spreading time between himself and Brian Orozco. And the question would remain, had Brian Orozco not gotten that blue card, would we have seen more of Gomez here in this part of the second half? Either way, 2 very talented keepers. And that's champagne wishes and caviar dreams if you're head coach Onuo Obasi.
3 more than capable keepers in the arsenal for Empire, and even with 1 on the trainer's table at the moment, still affords Empire the luxury of 2 stalwart keepers.
Pass comes into NDI. NDI with the most space he's seen all game. Tried to find Chakunte, but a great defensive play by Gonzalez. Stinson has it. He does not have numbers. He has it. Shot fires. Oliveira! Ciro! Oliveira scores the 5th goal of the game for the Empire. Doctor! Walk us through.
Ciro Oliveira, who got his MASL contract by featuring in Frank Tayu's Kings Cup, comes back to punish Frank Tayu's St. Louis ambush with his first goal of the season and the first goal in his MASL career. Congratulations to Ciro Oliveira, the first of many.
Ciro with a sizzler. The Strykers are now up by 3 with 13 minutes and 13 seconds remaining. Huge goal. We've seen a lot of flashes of brilliance from Oliveira this season. Probably could have seen a couple more goals, and he would be the first to tell you, I should have scored in this game, I should have scored in that game. But no doubt about it, he scored tonight against the St. Louis ambush.
A rookie with a ton of potential, already a pair of dimes on the season for Ciro, gets himself his first goal tally of the year and of his career.
Cisse. Back into Reyes. Reyes over to Cisse. Eskay is going to poke it back to the Strykers' defensive third of the turf. Gomez. Hundelt is going to head it into the public address announcer's box. Shout out to John Spire, who...
Good mitts on that one, Johnny. Way to go, buddy.
And speaking of which, I think John Spire's been here as long as Israel Cisse has. Alami trying to muscle Eskay out of the way. Oliveira, and he's going to go down to the turf. Eskay is going to be charged for the infraction.
Looks like a professional foul there for Eskay to afford his team the luxury of a change there real quick. That's a veteran move.
Veteran move by a very veteran player. Oliveira finds Fabián. Marco, who had himself several goals over the weekend.
Marco, who has scored, I believe, in nearly every single game he's played in here at Toyota Arena, on the verge of having his current scoring streak busted. It is a rare game in which Marco does not find himself on the scoring sheet.
I'll say that the Texas Outlaws were successful in keeping Marco Fabián out of the back of the net, although Marco did have a point in that game. Player that's in danger of losing their consecutive game scoring streak is Frank Tayu. As we mentioned, Tayu scored in every game but the Ambush's season opener against the Kansas City Comets. We haven't seen much of Tayu. I'm looking at him on the bench, very clear and evident with his dyed bleach blonde hair.
Dylan Hundelt with the foul on George De Leon, Empire ball.
Aguirre on the restart, backpedals it into Stinson. Stinson advancing across the yellow line with his former teammate Uzi Tayu on him. A shot. Tried to find Mansoray, poked away. Carvalho kicks it into Fabián. Fabián over to Stinson. Strykers are going to restart and reset their offense. 11 minutes and 15 remain here in this 4th quarter. Strykers comfortably up by 3 goals, but as we know in indoor, I don't care if I sound like a broken record. This is not a comfortable enough lead for anybody to settle in. Great pass from Fabián into Stinson, who's got time to operate. The through ball from Stinson, backheel pass, an opportunity. And just fancy maneuvering. Mansoray getting robbed by Nascimento. That just goes to show you how talented Nascimento is. He absolutely thwarted Abdul Mansouray's one-on-one threat.
Oh, London's got to take that first time. What a brilliant opportunity created with the back heel and the dummy by Fabián. Abdul Mansoray unable to get a boot to it in time to put it on goal.
Very plausible by Paulo as he paws it. Martinez back over to Stinson. Strykers recover. Threaded through, but taken away by Chakunte. Tayu into the corner, bounces it off of the wall into Eskay. Eskay being flooded by Martinez, finds Chakunte, the former Texas Outlaw man. Finds Thomas out of Doncaster, England. Doncaster Rovers, shout out, by the way. Back heel pass from Taiyu, taken away by Martinez. Palmer has the pass intercepted, but the Strikers still have it. Whistle.
And that's a handball at midfield there. Very close to being a blue card there against the ambush. They lucky to avoid a trip to the sin bin as the Strikers look to be in on goal there, but one player looks like they got back just in time for St. Louis to avoid a last man card.
Less than 10 minutes remaining here in this fourth quarter. Oliveira, who just scored the last goal, finds Andy Reyes. Reyes coming into today's game as the leading assist man, the pass master for the Empire Strykers. Ball comes into the corner. NDI has it. Facing pressure by Alan Perez. Ball comes into Nascimento. Nascimento into Eskay. Eskay backpedals it into NDI. Trying to find Carvalho, but Oliveira is there to intercept and heads it out into the ambush's bench. Restart for St. Louis. It's been a back and forth effort thus far. Strikers capitalizing on power plays. An errant ball misjudged by NDI. Araujo is going to go back to Nascimento. Pass comes into the corner to Carvalho. Palmer is going to retreat on it, and that's going to go out of play.
Folks, just a reminder to get the latest news on the MASL and your favorite teams by following MASL Soccer on Facebook and Instagram and MASL Arena on X.
Palmer. Yeah, shout out to our social media team at the Major Arena Soccer League. Very much improved in these past couple of seasons. Jack, I know you're listening. Thank you so much for your work. Gonzalez trying to find Alami, headed out by Rayleigh, the former Baltimore Blast man. He's traded to St. Louis from Baltimore. Pass comes into Taiyu. Fantastic defense by Gonzalez. Had Gonzalez not gotten his leg in there, Taiyu would have had a wide open look at Brandon Gomez. Jose Gonzalez in his 6th season in the MASL. Last played, though, in the 21-22 season, so Gonzalez a veteran of this league, but it's been a little while since he's actually come back. It's easy to say he's wiped off the rust. Nascimento off of the recovery lab dasher board. He tried to find Taiyu, and a wide open opportunity for the Strikers, but a great defensive effort by Niamsi. Martinez has it in the corner. Taiyu, Uzi Taiyu that is going to close in on him. Martinez comes back up with it.
Martinez smartly saw he had nowhere to go with that and retreated back. So we got a foul against the ambush just inside the yellow line. Both teams using the opportunity for a change. Folks, catch MASL Monday every Monday night on MASL TV and YouTube.
Alex Bashavansky, Phil Ivanko, the doctor, Jonathan Reimer, and I are still waiting on our invitation, folks.
Of course, you can catch MASL Monday on CBS Sports Golasso as well, too, where Alex and Phil are joined by special guests from across the league to recap all the games throughout the course of the previous week.
Pass comes in. Thomas trying to dump it into Chacunte. Oliveira is going to kick it off of the official, I believe.
I think that went off of Striker. That's going to be a defensive clearance. However, prior to the top of the arc restart, we are going to take a media timeout. Folks, you are watching the Major Arena Soccer League on CBS Sports Golasso Network.
Please, 6 miles, runway 6 right, we're going.
Back here under the bright lights of Toyota Arena, the St. Louis Ambush are down by 3 against the Empire Strykers. 7 minutes and 14 remaining. Christian Philemin and Jonathan Reimer on the call. Top of the arc restart. Pass comes in, a shot, and a goal by Thomas. And just like that, St. Louis marks their way into this game. They are now only down by 2. Thomas threading the netting.
James Thomas, his second goal of the season, NDI with the most casual of passes down to the corner there, and just catches Brandon Gomez right through the wickets and into the back of the net. And St. Louis are back within 2. Thomas, his second goal of the season to go with a pair of assists, the 8th leading scorer coming into the game tonight for St. Louis. Folks, we'd like to remind you of the situation going on here in Los Angeles and encourage you to head to redcross.org/CBS or text 90999 to do whatever you can to try and help the very desperate situation here in Los Angeles. I know it has been a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of stressful nights for folks like myself who sit just on the precipice of evacuation, hoping everything is safe and sound back at home when I return this evening. It's been a rough week, to say the least, for all of us, but to those who have lost so much and are in so desperate a need of your assistance, if you could please head to redcross.org/CBS and give whatever you can. Maybe it's just a cup of coffee's worth of change, but to go without a Starbucks trip tomorrow could mean the world to those in need.
What we need in LA is donations, volunteers, and more importantly, compassion. If you can give LA one of those 3 things, well, we certainly appreciate it here in Los Angeles. We're in Ontario, California, not Canada, as some of you might think. I made that mistake many, many years ago before I left the East Coast to move here. Ontario, barely 34 miles away from the City of Angels. They have not felt the pain that LA has had, but they certainly are reminded of it. But as we are here in Toyota Arena, again, we're happy and honored to give y'all a reprieve. This has been an exciting game so far. Strykers up by 2 with less than 7 remaining. Stinson trying to wall a score to himself, trying to get by Uzi Tayu, but he's going to take a spill, looking over at the official for a foul, none given. Errant pass, call it a through ball into Munir Alami. Reyes is wide open on that right side, calling for it. Stinson just missed him. Aguirre back over to Stinson. Stinson with a goal thus far tonight. Aguirre had Tayu closing in on him. Chips it into a wide open Robert Palmer. Palmer into the right to Alami. Alami, the Moroccan international, finds Stinson. Stinson with a shot. Justin Stinson in that bottom right corner. Doubles up the lead for the Empire Strykers. Stinger scores. Stinger scores. Doctor, walk us through.
The Stinger finds himself a brace for the very 9th time this season. They're picking the ball out of the back of the net off the boot of Justin Stinson, who beautifully establishes the space and fires it far post, and the Strykers are up 6-3.
Justin Stinson can't be denied. Stinson off to a great start in this first third of the season, and the Strykers need him massively. If Marco Fabián is having a quiet game, which he has been, Justin Stinson needs to be the one to pick up the scoring, and he has done so. And as a result of his efforts, the Strykers are up by a score of 6-3. 6th attacker in play for the St. Louis Ambushes. William Eskay donning that 6th attacker dagger jersey. Hundelt with a shot. He misses. Ding dong, clink clank, ring-a-ling-a-ling. And that's going to be headed out of play by Carvalho. Strykers ball.
Quick retreat back to the bench for the 6th attacker. Goalie back in play for the Ambush.
5 minutes and 48 seconds remaining here in this 4th quarter. The Ambush managed to close the gap a little bit, but Stinson reopens it. Pass comes in to try to be in a Mansoray, but Uzi Tayu.
It's gotta be blue.
No question about that. Smurf Village is open for business.
Uzi Tayu, last man. This is going to be a shootout opportunity for Empire. You have to wonder if it's going to be Stinson or Fabián to take the shot, but it's going to be Uzi in his return to the Empire. His Back in Toyota Arena, a place he called home for many years. Well, he's going to be calling the penalty box home for the next 2 minutes. And out of a force of habit, he went to go to the home team penalty box. The muscle memory still strong with Uzi as he is escorted over to the visitors' penalty box.
Bravo, you got a cackle out of me with that one. I know, we weren't watching a football match and a challenge flag thrown onto the turf by Empire?
Yeah, this has got to be last man. It's got to be
absolutely
a shootout here, and they're going to the video board. Challenge flag thrown by head coach Onua Obasi. I thought for sure that was a given, but looked like they were just going to place the ball at the spot of the foul for the start of a traditional power play. As we look here again, there's absolutely nobody on the other side. That is a last man penalty all day. I'm surprised that our officials are going to the board to take a look.
Well, we're watching a soccer game. We know there's some football going on in the NFL. And speaking of which, congratulations to the Los Angeles Rams beating the Minnesota Vikings today by a score of 27-9. The only reason I bring that up is because Uzi Tayu had a football-like tackle on Abdul Mansoureh in the final third of the offensive end for the Empire Strykers.
Sorry, Philly, that's got to be a holding call. 10 yards. First down.
I didn't even realize you knew that much about football, American football to even say these kinds of things.
It is overturned. No shootout. I'm astonished. Well, folks, I guess that leads me to say, if you disagree with the call tonight, you might just see it on MASL's most controversial show, Under Review, with Phil Levanco and MASL head referee Ryan Sigich. Catch it every Friday on YouTube. And it appears as though the information that was passed up to us from the scorers table was inaccurate. It is going to be a shootout, so I might not disagree. You folks in St. Louis might be hitting up your boys, Phil Levanco, for a questionable no call, but I believe the correct decision has been made.
So I'll tell you this. The ambush play in St. Charles. Justin Stinson's from there. Stinson with a shot. Upper left corner once again where Uncle Franz keeps the good stops. Strikers score. Strikers score. Strikers score. It is now 7-3.
Folks, if you're in the Inland Empire and you got a hat, throw it to the sky, because Justin Stinson has found himself a hat trick for the Empire Strykers. His third goal of the night after some deliberation and adjudication, finds himself lining up for the PK, and in the shootout, Justin Stinger comes out victorious.
Throw out your hatties and pour yourself a natty as the Strikers are up 7-3. There you see the big smile on Justin Stinson's face. And shout out to the Stinson family that I know are tuning into this broadcast in the Show Me State. A commanding effort by the Stinger. Big reason as to why the Strikers are now firmly in the lead by 4 with 5 minutes and 27 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter.
Eskay rocking the pink jersey, empty net for St. Louis.
And there's a foul. Well, a stoppage of play as Berto's going to get called for it. There's a ricochet that goes right into the nets. It's going to be Strykers' ball. About 5 minutes and 15 seconds remaining here.
Andy Reyes had Alan Perez wide open up top with the empty net if he could have gotten that ball out in time. Great deflection by St. Louis to keep it within 4.
Still very much a ball game. Rayleigh tried to find Tayu, but it goes right into Gomez. Gomez, who's looked very solid in his shift, a wide open look, but great defensive efforts by Alan Perez. Alan Perez had one of the prettiest assists you would ever see in the game against the Dallas Sidekicks, creating a gorgeous dime for a Munir Alami goal. Go back to that game if you want to see beautiful ball distribution. Scrum in the corner. Reyes into De Leon. Tried to find Perez. Poked away by St. Louis. 4 minutes and 27 seconds remaining. Great footwork by Niamsi to find himself free. Over into Varela. Nascimento is going to head to the bench. That's going to bring back Eskay as the 6th attacker. Rayleigh heads through to the pine as well. Eskay into Carvalho. Carvalho with a shot off of the dome piece of Brandon Gomez.
Right in the beak, Cotton. Using the cranium to command that save.
Talk about putting it out there for the team. Pass into Eskay. Eskay in traffic. Taiyu recovers. The defense has been very stellar on Frank Taiyu, the leading scorer of this ambush team. Pass comes into Varela. Varela into Thomas. He's going to go bottom left corner with his second goal of the game. Don't go anywhere, folks. Ambush are still very much in, drawing the lead. It is now 7-4.
James Thomas bags himself a brace, nets his second goal of the night, perfectly placed past the outstretched keeper's arm, and the ambush are storming their way back into this one. It is now 7-4 with 3:38 left to play. And folks, if you think 3 goals in 3 minutes and 38 seconds is an insurmountable lead, well, welcome to the beautiful indoor game where goals come in flurries, especially in the fourth quarter. We are not surprised to see 4, 5, 6, even 7 goals scored in a 3-minute span is not unlikely here in the indoor world.
Thomas in his 8th season with the ambush. Mention where he hails from, Doncaster, England. Huge game for him tonight. That adds some life to the ambush's attack. Ball gets picked back up by Aguirre to Palmer, back to Aguirre. Stinson, who's had the game of games. Reyes over to Palmer. Strykers are just going to look to spread out the defense of the ambush. Palmer's down on the turf.
He got cleaned out behind the play there. No call by the officials who were right on top of it. Berto slow to his feet. He's back up, retreating back into the defense.
Great pass into Aguirre. Strykers doing a phenomenal job of playing keep away. Ball gets picked off. Nearly turned over by the Strykers. Palmer, despite falling to the turf and sitting there for a little bit, is back up. Palmer, one of the toughest players you'll see in this league.
Pride of Kingston, Jamaica. They don't make soft boys down there.
And the pride of Park University in Kansas City. Let's not forget about that.
Shouts to all the Park University alumni across the league.
Palmer, who scored a big power play goal earlier in the third quarter, still on the turf. Strykers looking to spread the defense, looking to spread the ambush. Gomez, well out of his position. Ball gets picked off by Nascimento into Araujo. Varela. Oh, he just misses. Taiyu, in his return, finds the back of the net. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. And right there, the King swung his mighty scepter, finding the back of the net for his 8th straight game. Let's take a look at that one again.
It looked like the initial shot was going to be on goal. It curves just wide. The clearance by Empire falls right into the lap of Frank Taiyu. And the King emphatically decrees that ball into the back of the net. Just like that, it's a 2-goal game. Minute 54 left to play.
If Frank Taiyu was Henry VIII and Brandon Gomez was Anne Boleyn, he absolutely slayed that opportunity for the ambush to score a goal. Look, 2-goal lead, a minute 54 remaining. That 6th attacker has proven to be very prominent for the Strykers, but in this situation, they absolutely got burnt there as Gomez was well out of his position.
You can see Frank Taiyu taking out some frustration on that ball. He was not going to mince around with it whatsoever. He was putting that into the back of the net with every ounce of energy in the big frame of the King. Impressive stuff there.
2-goal differential, a minute 54. Let's take a look at some of these highlights, some of that replay. Great goal by Justin Stinson, which occurred moments ago. Thought that the Strykers were going to be off to the races, but St. Louis, true to their grit, their determination. As we mentioned, this is a team that looks completely different than they did last season. They are fighting heavily to keep this game competitive.
And you have to think, without the likes of Jeff Michaud, Richard Schmerman, Robbie Christo, Skylar Funk, the laundry list of players that have been injured this season for St. Louis. Of course, Taiyu brothers have been battling injury as well, too, amongst other players on this team. They're beaten up and beleaguered, but still managing to put up quite a fight here tonight. It's no surprise that about 1 goal separates these two teams in their goals for average on the season. It would be no surprise if just a small number separated the two tonight.
I think St. Louis is very talented, considering the teams they have beaten this season and the way they've reloaded their firepower. I do think this is a team that can contend for the playoffs. Today they're showing some grit that we didn't see the last couple of seasons.
Going to be a foul called on Andy Reyes of Empire there against Eskay. So give an opportunity for St. Louis to bring the keeper back out to the bench.
94 seconds remaining in this game. Can the Strykers hang on? William Eskay back with that 6th attacker jersey. Eskay into Thomas. Thomas, who has a 2-goal game thus far. Him and Justin Stinson, the highest scores for both sides. Varela into Hundelt. Hundelt looking to connect back with Tayu. Ball is going to find its way into Gomez.
A little too much spin on that ball as it played itself right into the keeper's arms.
Gomez rolls it into Perez. Perez in a Hundelt Varela sandwich. And that's going to be a whistle going against the ambush. Hundelt not thrilled about that as the Strykers look for a line change.
Empire will take the opportunity to get fresh legs out themselves as we get down to the final minute of play.
Mansoray with a look. Abdul Mansoray! Fighting the back of the net. The nail in the coffin. The Strykers score their 8th goal of the game. Fabulous goal. Abdul Mansoray at a London doctor. Talk to us about London.
We got the British brace in full effect here at Toyota Arena as Abdul Mansoray with a brilliant strike. Far post, collects the ball, sizes up the keeper, and picks out the far corner. Wonderful stuff there from Abdul Mansoray. Gets his 2nd goal of the game. He's got himself a brace.
Who day? Abdul Mansoray. Fantastic goal. Pass comes into Tayu. Tayu not done yet, almost scores one. Back right post and a shot. Dylan Hundelt gets another one back for the St. Louis ambush. They are continuing to fight. What did I say was the most dangerous plant in the world?
I believe a shrub?
An ambush, absolutely. Let's take a look at this replay once again.
Hundelt manages to capture the half volley bouncing ball and top bins it. Que golazo!
Que golazo indeed. Last season, the Strykers won both games against the ambush by a score of 8-7.
Oh, we have a superstructure violation for the 2nd time today. Oh, it's my favorite violation, folks. The superstructure violation comes into play once again as the ball has been kicked into the TV boards midfield. And a timeout is going to be taken here by St. Louis as they try and put their attack together as just 2 goals separate these teams, 8-6, 37 seconds left to play.
Riddle me this one, Batman. Since when has the superstructure violation been your favorite? We've seen like 3 in our history of calling games in this league. Oddly enough, though, 2 tonight. I didn't realize these superstructure violations get you so excited, Doctor.
It's such a rare occurrence, and let's be honest, in all of the lexicon of the indoor world, from Wallace scoras to soul rolls, you have to admit that superstructure violation just rolls off the tongue with a Shakespearean eloquence.
I mean, if there's anybody who knows about the English language, it is you, my friend. The king of alliterations, the king of poetry.
Why, thank you.
The question is going to be, speaking of kings, who's going to put on a Superman cape? Who's going to wield a mighty scepter? Frank Tayu with that yellow line. Once again, folks, if you want to help those affected by the California wildfires, make sure you head on over to redcross.org/CBS. We need your volunteer work. We need your donations. More importantly, though, we need your compassion. 37.3 seconds remaining. Briggs into Carvalho. Frank's shot blocked by Stinson. Eskay looking to get by. There's a shot deflecting off the left. And another shot saved by Gomez.
Got a foul inside the box called against the St. Louis ambush. It will be Empire ball playing out. And a yellow card has been issued for dissent. I believe that is James Thomas, who is going to be spending the rest of the game in the sin bin. It will not be a man advantage on a yellow card. That is 5 minutes for dissent. And he will sit out the final 38 seconds of the match.
All elementary for him.
Ambush still rocking the 6th attacker even without the ball at the moment. Empty net in play for Empire.
Gonzalez gets pickpocketed. Perez recovers. Perez in. Fancy footwork shot. Oh, that just deflects off of the ambush, but the clock's going to expire, folks. As it stands, And it will stand this way. The Strykers are going to win another game at Toyota Arena. This is their 4th win of the season, more than they had all of last season. A tremendous effort by Empire, but the St. Louis Ambush did not make it easy for the Strykers.
No, they did not. But of course, the Herculean efforts of one Justin Stinson, who goes home with a hat trick. He will up his goal tally to 10 on the season, and unquestionably the star of the night, Justin Stinson. Certainly have to tip our cap to Ciro Oliveira, who opened his MASL scoring account tonight. He joins George De Leon, Berto Palmer, and a brace by Abdul Mansoure as your goal scorers for the Empire Strykers. For the St. Louis Ambush, the king himself, plus Dylan Hundelt, James Thomas with a pair, Rafael Araujo, and of course, Deduca Carvalho as well with your goal scorers for Ambush.
It was an exciting game. That was the first goal of the game that you're looking on your screen. The self-made Wallace scorer by Abdul Mansoure. A goal that probably not only surprised him, but us as well. But a perfect way for the Strykers to strike first as that pass attempt gets by Nascimento, and the player of the game, as you mentioned, the first star has to go to Justin Stinson. He had another fabulous effort. Stinson, against a team that he used to play for early on in his career, had a commanding effort, and Stinson very much locked in there. We see that one-on-one opportunity for Araujo against the Strykers. He capitalizes. And we're moments away going pitch side with Panda. She's going to stand by with head coach of the Strykers, Onuo Obasi. Take it away, Panda. Let's pick the mind of the $1 Million Man.
Hey guys, I'm here with Coach Onuo Obasi. 3 games in 4 days. How do you feel your boys held up all the way to the very end in this one?
Yeah, you know what? Credit to St. Louis. They had an even more brutal schedule than us. They went to Mexico back-to-back against the champions. So to come here and to keep it a 2-goal game, right down to the wire where we're getting nervous, all the credit to them, but I'm happy with our performance. You know, each game, we just lost 2 in a row. So it's disappointing in the locker room. You can sense the disappointment, but we also dominated stretches of those games. So it was nice to finally get the win in front of our fans. It was the 3rd game of 3, but we got the win finally, you know?
You answered my next question, which was how important is this win following those 2 losses that you were so close, and I know you guys knew that you could have won those. So how's it feel to come back here and get a little bit of redemption?
Yeah, you know, I said to the boys there, I said, boys, listen, it's the most important out of the 3 for multiple reasons. 1, because we just lost 2 in a row, but 2, these are a good team who will be in the sniffing around playoffs, so we have to be knocking those teams down. But that doesn't really change how we play. We have to come out and play our game and understand their strengths and weaknesses, and I think we did that, and it's nice to be smiling at the end of the game and not frustrated for a change, you know?
Now, you were pretty fast at the half to get out and into the locker room. I didn't get a chance to talk to you. So that's, we get this time now. What did you tell them at the half? It felt like they really came out here with a purpose and a desire to really put this game away.
Yeah, you know what? We just spoke about the tactics, really. You know, not being sloppy, of course. We made a few errors in the last 2 games that were painful, cost us games, cost us goals. So I said, boys, first and foremost, don't be sloppy. The only chances they're getting are what we're giving them. But then tactically, they came with a very concrete game plan. So, at half-time, I'm sitting with my coaches and some of the players who are not playing today. I tell them to come down, give me their feedback. So then you can kind of put together a plan. And to be fair, I'm not sure how much the plan worked in the second half, but we did enough with what we were doing to win the game.
Absolutely. Congratulations on the win. My heart's still pounding. Always a nail-biter right to the end. So back to you guys.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Panda, for the great interview. Onuo Obasi mentioned the fact that the St. Louis Ambush had a really rough gauntlet of a weekend, competing against the defending champion Chihuahua Savage a couple of times. The Strykers also had that, but we're going to talk more about that. We're going to head to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to tie this up and wrap it up for you. Back in a moment, folks, from Toyota Arena. Philly and the Doctor taking a break.
Indoor soccer fans, it's time to unleash a giant leap for fandom. Introducing MASL Indoor Soccer Fantasy Football. Build your dream team, invite your friends, and create your own draft league, all for free. Draft and trade players and win bragging rights as your team dominates the league. With MASLI Football, you're not just a fan, you're part of the action. Go to MASLI Football to sign up, get started, and play.
Back here at Toyota Arena, the Empire Strykers just came off of a very exciting game, beating the St. Louis Ambush by a score of 8-6. My name's Christian Filliman. That's the doctor, Jonathan Reimer. Head coach Anu Obasi, in the interview that he just had with Panda, alluded to the fact that the Ambush came off of a gauntlet of a weekend, playing against the defending champions and playing very competitively, might I add. But the same thing can be said for the Empire Strykers. They had a Herculean effort going against the Ron Newman Cup finalists, Kansas City Comets, losing at Cable Dahmer Arena and then losing a heartbreaker to Dallas. But it's not a matter of what you do with your scenario, it's how you come back. And the Strikers certainly had a comeback response. They won their 4th game of the season, which is already one more win than they had all of last season.
Well, speaking of having been through a gauntlet, all of us in the Southern California area have certainly been through it this week as well, too. Folks, we would just like to remind you one more time to head to redcross.org/CBS or to text 90999 and do whatever you can to help out in the relief efforts here in Los Angeles, where it has been a grueling week off the turf as well, too.
Absolutely, and a big shout out to everybody who tuned in. If we offered you any kind of a reprieve, I can't help but stress it. We certainly were honored to do so. Both teams, they're going to get to run this one back at the Family Arena in St. Charles, Missouri next week on the 18th. Strikers go on the road. The next home broadcast for the Empire Strykers will be a week from today on Monday, January the 20th, as the Strikers welcome the San Diego Sockers, their arch rivals from down now in Oceanside. That should be a really good one. Doc, any final thoughts before we end this broadcast?
I just want to say thank you to all the fans who have supported us throughout the course of this week and the course of this broadcast. My heart goes out to each and every one of you. Nothing but love from Philly, Doc, Panda, the entire Empire team, and of course to all of our first responders and firefighters. You are simply the best of humanity. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for tuning into a presentation of the Major Arena Soccer League on CBS Sports Colossal Network. We'll see you next week as the Strikers take on the San Diego Sockers here under the bright lights of Toyota Arena. Have a good night and have a productive week. Philly and the Doctor, mwah, we out. Peace.
The wait is over. The 2025 MASL season is here. Bigger and better than ever. Get ready for high-speed action, jaw-dropping goals, and fierce competition as your favorite teams battle it out on the field. With intense rivalries, unforgettable moments, and new stars rising, the MASL delivers excitement every week. Get your tickets now and be part of the excitement. Because this season, The action is non-stop.
Are you looking for inspiration? The FYI podcast delivers stories of inspiring individuals like the Strykers, Marco Fabián, Momo, and their remarkable personal journeys.
Because you're going to see people from all parts of life. They're us, everyday people facing everyday obstacles, and how they overcome them is a blueprint for all of us to learn from.
If you want to be inspired, subscribe to the FYI podcast.